Hi guys, and welcome to Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Mickey here. So I had a little wander out today. I'd heard about a new, well, I say new, it had been there for a few months. I hadn't realised it was even there, but we got a new army surplus store fairly local to me. So I popped up and had a look round, see what they do. Yeah, well worth a visit. Company called Drop Zone, based in North Camp in Aldershot. And yeah, quite enjoyed having a chat to the guys up there. Very knowledgeable, know their stuff. Picked up a couple of bits and pieces, as you always do. Don't like to go into shops and just look round without actually supporting them in some way or manner. And whilst I was in there, I realised that there's been three initials that kept cropping up in all my life. Okay, in all my work within the Ministry of Defence, within the military and so forth, kept seeing these three initials. I'd never really taken any notice of them. I'd seen them on all sorts, from compasses to map cases to gear. And the initials were BCB. So I had a look round and like I say, saw the kit in there and see this, the title BCB, and I thought, let's have a look. So one of the things they did was what they call a combat survival tin. So this, excuse me, switch it back on. This tin is a combat survival tin, and it comes in what we would call the old-fashioned tobacco tin, the pipe tobacco tin. Something years ago, squaddies were told, grab yourselves one of these, build your kit. And everybody did. They built their own survival kit based around what they needed. BCB obviously made a kit, which is an official kit. It has an NSN number. So it is something that can be ordered and issued through the military. Yeah, so I thought I'd have a look at this kit. But first of all, before we go on to that, I did a bit of research when I got home into BCB. So BCB was started 160 years ago. Okay, and they've been manufacturing stuff for frontline services and military personnel ever since. Okay, they started way back in 1854, and they were started by a gentleman called Mr. Brown, and he developed Brown's cough bottle for Crimean War soldiers, and this was a cough syrup to ease chest infections and so on. Okay. We come forward to 1914, and the company was renamed BCB. So it went from Brown's cough bottle to BCB. In the 1940s, they developed the first ever medical kit for life rafts and lifeboats. In the 1950s, they became a full-time supplier for the MOD. In other words, they got an MOD contract to make and supply equipment for them, which is quite a jump. Okay. In 1967, they developed their first ever shark repellent for the US Navy. That's a good jump. In 1975, they supplied the medical equipment for the Everest Western Slope expedition. In 1979, they became BCB International and developed a military range. In the 1980s, that range was then supplied to UN forces. Okay, or United Nations forces. That would have been the peacekeepers and so forth. In 1985, they developed their Pioneer brand, which was equipment for people like scouts and so on. In 2007, they developed, or they started BCB International Incorporated USA. So that became established in the US. In 2009, they developed blast boxes, which was underwear, which gave it an element of protection, obviously from IEDs and so on. And obviously this company was in development. They were looking at what was needed out there. They'd seen the injuries caused by IEDs and that, and tried to develop something that would reduce the amount of impact. In 2013, they developed Fire Dragon Eco Gel, which again you'll see all over the place now, is used by most of the US or UK forces, and is an absolute brilliant system. And in 2014 they set up BCB Adventure, which again was something designed for the general public. Okay, so anyhow, that's a bit about BCB. Let's have a look. So this tin, sturdy tin. This is pretty much as it comes. Like I say, tobacco sized tin. It can fit in a pocket, it can fit in a pouch, it It can be carried. It's not particularly heavy. In actual fact, let's have a look at the weight. Let's just zero that. Let's have a look at the weight. Okie doke, shall we go for units? Shall we go grams, fluid ounces, mils, pounds and ounces? Okie doke. Let's weigh that in. Okie doke, 2.6 ounces. So the tin weighs 2.6 ounces. Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to zero that again, just to make sure. And in grams. And that is 71 grams. Okay, 71 grams, not a lot of weight. So when you get this tin, it's sealed with black tape. Again, that waterproofs it. Great idea. Don't throw away the tape. You could reuse that. You could use that for fire lighting. You could use that for repairing cables, insulating something, whatever you needed it for. It's an insulation tape. So yeah, it has multiple uses, and the idea of these sort of tins is every part of this should be able to be used. The label on top says Nightlight Fire Striker, single edge blades, pencil, sewing kit, wire saw, whistle, snare, Puri tabs, safety pins, fishing kit, mini knife, instructions, micro torch, nylon cord, cable ties, matches, silicone tubing. Okay, not to be sold to persons under the age of 18. It has a batch number and an expiry date. An expiry date for this tin is the 3rd, 2027. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's get into it. And I will be repacking this tin and resealing it. But again, as I'm always saying, if you're going to buy these sort of kits and equipment, get to know what's in there. It's no good waiting until it's an emergency and then opening your tin. And this is a combat survival tin, so this isn't necessarily aimed at a hiker. This is designed to go into a soldier's backpack, his Bergen or whatever, and give him some supplies, some equipment to run alongside what he's already carrying to assist him in an emergency. So we open it out, and it is a nice sturdy tin. If you don't, oh, I do like this. So this is packed in a Ziploc sealed bag, so that's folded over quite nicely. It's got a code and batch number on it. It's waterproof. It's a bit of a bonus. Matches, knife, and water purification tablets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 1 litre Oasis Puri tabs. Pretty much a standard water purification tablet for all the militaries I've ever worked with. Okie doke. And you have some simple instructions for using the Puri tabs. Okay, so one of those into a litre bottle of water. The matches, I'm not going to necessarily, in fact you can open it, that's nice because everything's in Ziploc bags. I like that. That means it can be put back into a waterproof bag. The matches, okie doke, they're a simple match set. And again, this is a small emergency kit. The matches, let's try one. They are small, they are a bit flimsy. They are a wood match with a very small head. No, I'm not impressed with the matches, I'll be honest with you. Oh, that one lit up okay. Yeah. Okay, the first match the head broke away on. The second match lit up fine. Okay. Again, something to have in the kit. If you were in a safe, sheltered environment, inside a building, you've got someone who's cover, you're out of the weather, you're out of the rain, yeah, it'll do the job. I would probably, in all reality, supplement those with the standard issue waterproof matches, strike all weather ones. But again, you can never have enough fire lighting systems. So, and they're small, they're light, they pack away into the tin. I just wouldn't fancy if it was cold, wet, wind was blowing and so on. So this is that. They're a little bit of overkill. Something small like this works fine and will work for binding things up and binding things together. So again, yeah, got their uses. Not necessarily something I would carry, but they have their uses. So I have a piece of paper in here. I quite like that actually. So this piece of paper folds out like this, and in this we have an accident evaluation report. Gives you information on examining your patient. It gives you a measuring system. It gives you some basic survival instructions: shelter building, first aid, protection, fire, a little bit of Morse code, some tips on lighting fire using alternative systems. Gives you an emergency report, some tips on food, and some tips on navigation and water collection. Yeah, okay. That's not bad, that's not bad. There's always something there that's going to give you a little bit of a reminder. I can go with that. A little bit of nylon cord. Okay, so it's, yeah, just a little bit of cordage. Let's see how much we've got here. Okay, it's good strong cordage. It's enough to replace a bootlace. It's enough to rig a snare. It's probably 2 feet there. So yeah, that's got its uses. We'll pack that back up in the kit carefully. Something that people are always forgetting about: a simple pencil. Okay, pencil and a bit of paper. So you've got your casualty markers there. You know, you want to show somebody where there's an injury, or you want to leave a note for somebody. It's just a little pencil. If you combine that pencil, and you should have a writing kit with you of some sort. You should have an all-weather notebook if you can afford one. If not, just some paper tucked away in your kit. But yeah, a way to make notes. Simple things like planning a route. Using this piece of paper from the water purification tablets and that bag there, you could write a note on that. If you had to move on from the scene, you could easily write on that: 6 survivors, left scene, heading in, a bearing of or a direction of, towards such and such, at such and such time, please send help, whatever. Leave that inside that and mark it up. You know, leave it somewhere where it can be seen, where it's visual, and rescuers will then know what route you followed, how many of you there are, what supplies you got. You can put all the information on there, even if you just got to put names of the people involved in the situation. Okay, 101 uses. So yeah, have a pencil, a little bit of silicone tubing. 101 uses for a little bit of silicone tubing. Everything from improvising a tourniquet to using it as a straw, rigging up a filter. Okay, silicone tubing is 101 uses. Insulating cable. Yeah, it's got 101 uses. Very, very stretchy. Okay, so that has uses. You could use it collecting water, so forth, so forth, so forth. Okay, so yeah, bit of silicone tubing. Not something I would choose to put into a kit myself, but has uses. These, you know, I like very much. These are the little nano lights, and this one is by BCB. Okay, and yeah, I like this one. So it's got a nice little pressure pad on the back. Okay, a lot of these have a little clip that you can lock it on with so it stays switched on, and some of them have got the clip is the only way you can operate it, but this one, yeah, works quite nicely. And again, as I'm always saying to you, the nice thing with these sort of things, you can make your hands free. So yeah, that's a nice little micro light like that. It's fairly sturdy, it's good and bright. You can use that for signalling. Yeah, good bit of kit to have with you. Next out, oh, pleased to see that. So you've got a nice little ferro rod, actually, quite like that. And again, same sort of cordage as you saw just now. So again, what you can be doing is you can be taking that piece of cordage, attaching it to this, starting to put stuff on it. You know, it's basically your idiot line. You're not going to lose things, because you know all this may end up coming out of there, going into a pocket and carrying. This has a very small compass on it. Okay, it's only really going to be used to giving you a rough bearing. But what I do like is you've got a good chunky ferro rod on there. And if you're going to have a ferro rod, have something that's reasonably chunky. It's well set into the plastic. I don't think it's going to come out in a hurry. And you've got your hacksaw blade, pretty much a standard for a ferro rod. And yeah, it's got the hacksaw blade on there. Okay, so a little bit of hacksaw blade goes a long way. A little bit of brass snare wire, it's quite fine, a little bit finer than what I'd normally use. It doesn't give me a length on there, and I don't really want to unwind it all. But again, there's 101 uses for brass wire, from improvising fuses to repairing kit and equipment, making snares and doing all the obvious. I would say roughly looking at that, there's probably a couple of meters there. So yeah, that's got use. Next thing out, a little fishing kit. Okie dokes, you've got some line there that's wound around a piece of plastic. 1, 2, 3, 4 quite large split shot, quite large hooks with barbs on. So yeah, survival situation, you want to use barbed hooks, you don't want your food getting away. Simple little kit, nothing fancy to it. Do as a basis. Little sewing kit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cords, 1 needle, 2 buttons, 1 safety pin. Yeah, go in your kit. It's quite tidy. It's not something I really put together myself, but yeah, now I've got one, it'll go in the kit. A selection of small safety pins. Well, small safety pins can be used from all sorts, from sealing up wounds to repairing clothing to improvising fish hooks to removing splinters. Yeah, it's got use. Okie doke. I'll take one of these out. So these, two razor blades, okay, with a metal backing with a strip. Okay, these are, and should be, yeah, immensely sharp. You can use these for minor surgery, cutting items. They can be also packed away into an escape and evasion kit, i.e. with a little bit of thought and practice, that can be packed away, sealed and protected, and actually stitched into your kit and your equipment. Okay, there's 2 of those there. As a replacement for the scalpel, really. Small candle, little tea light type candle. I think they list this as the Commando saw. Okay, little wire saw. yeah, I'll give that one a try. We'll see how that one holds up. So these things, some of them are brilliant, some of them are pants. Got to really have a look. The real knack with them is don't go like a lunatic. Let the blade do the work. I see people cutting pieces of wood with them and heaving on them. Well, it's actually quite a light setup, and it's also metal. It's something that's not going to take a lot of bending and friction. Okay, but if you slow it down a little bit, take your time using it, yeah, you can cut most things with that. There's a BCB International whistle. It's a basic whistle. Yeah, that's loud enough. That will let people know that you're in trouble. And again, it's got a little loop on it there, but it's plastic. Again, that would go onto your wally cord. And in here, a little knife, a little tiny lock knife. Okay, serrated blade. So yeah, it'll cut twine. Ideal for the kit. It's small, it's simple, it's not particularly substantial, well made. I'd probably replace that. In actual fact, I'm not that keen on it, but I would probably find a manufactured knife of the same sort of size and shape to replace. Okay, so that's the survival tin. Now, this survival tin isn't expensive. It's £20. Okay, and I say it's not expensive. It's what it is. The tin's probably worth a £5 on its own. Puri tabs, it's 10 Puri tabs there. There's another couple of quid. Candle, 50p. Wire saw, there's a £5 to a £10. So again, it's not a bad little kit. There are bits and pieces I would keep, bits and pieces I would bin. Nano light, yeah, that's a definite. The hacksaw blades are definite, the ferro rod definite, the brass wire is a definite. Sewing kit I'd throw in there because they come in handy. The fishing kit, yeah, I'd keep that, and I'd probably improve on that a little bit. The wire saw, yeah, that. So the only thing I'd really replace in there is going to be the matches and the knife. Okay. Now, things that are not in there that I will add to the tin myself is going to be a bag for collecting water, because again, I've got the tin, I've got a little tiny bag there, it won't hold a litre of water, and I've got Puri tabs. Now they take this is a combat survival tin, so they take it that you've got your water bottle with you, your 1 litre water bottle. So they work on a situation that this just supplements the soldier's kit. Okay. We'll come back to this. Me and Mac are going to do a video on survival tins. We will come back to this, and I will use this probably as the basis of a survival tin for me. Okay, so is it worth it? Yes, it is worth it. If you're building a kit, it is definitely worth it. But what I would say to you is use this as a basis of your kit and improve on it. There is space in this tin to improve on the kit. Add things that are going to be of use to you, and adapt it yourself. Obviously, I'd want to put things in here like lothramide and some pain relief and the rest of it, which a lot of survival kits aren't going to have in them as a standard. Okay, but if I put back the bits that I'd want to keep from that kit, yeah, there's plenty of space in there. Plenty of space in there. And in actual fact, if I added back even the bits I'm not that keen on, there's still space in there to add to it. So good. Yeah, on the whole, great bit of kit. Combat survival tin. Allows you to adapt it, allows you to improve it, allows you to make it bigger. They put some basics in there, and like I say, it's a combat survival kit, so the idea is give that to a serviceman. He's already carrying a poncho, he's already carrying a water bottle, he's already carrying a lot of equipment that he's going to need and he's going to have. This is just a supplementary kit. Yeah. The bits that I'm not going to put back in there are going to be things like the small knife, cable ties, the bit of string, because I would change that for my own string and cordage. The silicone tubing, that is actually going to go into my med kit, because that's got uses in the med kit, and I will keep it in my med kit. So there we go, BCB Survival Tin. How would I rate it? I will give that, personally, from what I do and not as a soldier, I would rate it a 7 to an 8 out of 10. It has uses. It's a great basis. In fact, it's an absolutely brilliant basis for starting a kit. And if you had nothing else, it would probably help you. Okay? BCB Combat Survival Tin. That's BCB code CK015. Yeah, go and have a look, guys. Thank you.